What's going on, my pretty pandas? It's your huggable hipster here, and welcome back to another Psychologically Gaming with your host, Ariel. That just doesn't look attractive right now. I'm not going to do that ever again, I promise. So in today's episode, I put up a poll earlier this morning for you guys of what you would want to see for Psychologically Gaming, and I put up the poll as a choice of either Leon Kennedy or zombies. Now, I didn't say what kind of zombies, or if we were going to be going of a specific type or kind of zombie, just general zombies. And zombies won. Like by a landslide, zombies won. You know, it's kind of shocking that people posted that they wanted to see a Psychologically Gaming about zombies, because it dives more into the philosophy side of everything, because whenever you deal with something as generic or as vague as just a topic of zombies, to psychoanalyze zombies, and I'm going to try to keep this as condensed and as short as I can. So where do we start off with the zombies? I feel like it's only fair to go into a little bit of the history of what a zombie is. So as far as a zombie goes, a zombie is a reanimated corpse. Strictly a reanimated corpse. If you want to strip it down to its most basic, essential nature of what a zombo is, a zombie is a reanimated corpse. Now, zombies are usually portrayed as strong or very, stiff creatures, if you want to even say robotic in a way, because they only have like certain movements that they portray as kind of just like lifeless and doll-like. Not doll-like, they don't have porcelain skin. Their skin is rotting off. It's dead. But typically they don't talk, they don't speak, they may grunt a little. Depending on the zombie, you know, if one's like wielding an axe at you in the Resident Evil 6 universe, then get the hell out of there. If we want to go back in time to see where the zombies first came about and where their history first started, we could go all the way back to the Greek origins. And a lot of archaeologists even found rocks that were pinning down dead bodies, assuming that they might rise again. And these were found in grave sites in ancient Greece. You can also go into zombies and voodoo and also hoodoo. Hoodoo is more of like a practice on you have to, in order for it to affect you, you have to believe in it. And voodoo is just something else entirely. I can get into that in a separate video if you guys want. Voodoo, sometimes spelled as voodoo or voodoo, is basically a religion that started in West Africa. Now, I'm going to link the article that I'm getting a lot of my research from down in the description below, so you guys get more of a context of how I am going about a lot of my research. A lot of it is from the History Channel. Believe it or not. A lot of it is from peer-reviewed articles that I found from the research that I did back in college. A lot of it is from a lot of psychology articles that I find. So it's really all over the place. So any articles that are relevant to the research that I do here for this episode and for future episodes will be down always in the description below. Now, in the article, I thought it was really interesting that they talked about bokors, because I had done research on bokors, and they have a tradition of using herbs, shells, fish, animal parts in order to reanimate their dead. A lot of ingredients are meshed together. Now, I'm not sure if a lot of you guys are aware of this, but there is actually a deadly neurotoxin within the pufferfish that is used within ingredients as bones, marrow, other host of things that are used as basically the zombie potion. I'm giving it that name because I don't actually know what it's called. But when the deadly neurotoxin from the pufferfish is used at sublethal doses, the tetrotoxin combination causes a zombie-like symptom within the person who it is affecting, such as difficulties walking, mental confusion, and respiratory problems. Now, high doses of the tetrotoxin can lead to paralysis and coma, but may cause this person to have like that zombie appearance, if you will, of that dead but alive state. Now, there have been actual zombies reported in medical journals. There was one guy in California a few years back who ended up having a lot of bath salts and eating the face off of another person. I kid you not. There was a Haitian woman who appeared to be dead and was buried in a family tomb, of all places, only to reappear 3 years later. An investigation revealed her tomb was filled with stones. And then her parents, after she apparently got out of her grave, they admitted her to a hospital. I mean, you should have done that before, honey. Seriously. Where's your daughter? Oh, nothing. She's just walking out of a grave. No big deal. Not at all. Because that's basically what they are. They are the walking dead. They don't have emotions. They lack empathy. Actually, they have no empathy whatsoever. The only thing that is working in their brain is the animalistic tendency and instinct to eat human flesh, particularly human flesh, because that's what has been culturalized. That has been what is the popular thing to say. But they will eat anything. They'll eat dogs, cats, anything that is throughout nature that has flesh and blood and meat to it. Your modern brain, which is your frontal cortex, the modern brain is just another name for the frontal cortex. The modern frontal cortex part is responsible for your memory, impulse control, problem solving, a whole host of things. Oh, and most importantly, reasoning. Don't forget that. Your primal brain, which is also called your hindbrain / medulla, is responsible for your survival drive and instinct. Now, when your primal brain is engaged, it is the sympathetic response, which is your primal instinct to fight or flight, to feed, to run, all the things that animals have, which humans don't necessarily survive on, but it is one of the things that drives us. Put that into the same perspective as a zombie. We always see the zombie fight or flight. It either runs when it feels like it's threatened, or it stays there and has its food when it feels like it's hungry. Look at the case of The Walking Dead, the TV show. When we're in the first season, I believe, the mother of the little boy who we meet with his dad when Rick is looking for a place to stay. But we see in the show that the mother is actually dead. She turned into a zombo. And she actually comes to the door and she goes and she roams back and forth between the house. That's actually taken from folklore and literature, where back in the day, in order to be turned into a zombie, you had the ingredients from the pufferfish or whatever ingredients they were using for that particular set of storyline that they were writing at the time. And in the storyline itself, and this is a constant that I've seen throughout the zombie literature that I have studied, is that to be a zombie, to finish the entire transformation, the zombie is taken through the home that it previously lived in. So whether the zombie was like a 40-year-old with a family and everything like that, the person who created the zombie, basically the zombie master, has to take the zombie past the house. He has to physically walk him by the house until he does not have memory of that place anymore. It's kind of like a closure in a way. So keep that in mind whenever you're looking at the literature and you're looking at all of the TV shows. A lot of the TV shows get the stuff from the lore and from, voodoo, hoodoo, all that kind of stuff from back in the day. So taking the zombie past the house kind of explains why the mother was there. There is some sort of emotional connection that is still lingering that leads me to believe that zombies have a lingering memory. They have a lingering sense of thought and perception about the world that is completely different from a human's perspective that maybe they just can't communicate. Now, if you really want to go in depth into the brain and how it works and how it performs as an entirety and go more into like the psychology of how a zombie could possibly work, which actually in that case you could just as easily look and get further into the brain by looking at the amygdala, which is part of the limbic system at the end of the hippocampus. Actually, the amygdala itself is responsible for the memory of emotions and fear specifically. But when you think of the amygdala, you should think of just one word: fear. That's basically in a nutshell what the amygdala controls, is the fear center of the brain. The amygdala is the reason why we are afraid of things outside of our control. If you touch something that is really hot, the amygdala senses that and it's like, oh my god, why am I scared of this? But there are some instances where people's amygdalas are just unbalanced and they don't work. That's why you have daredevils. That's why you have people who are very easily just not afraid of heights. I don't understand. Which actually, a fun fact, the amygdala of rats were removed in several studies, and after that they even went up to cats. They went up to animals who were much larger than them, and they were stated to have, in one of the studies that I found, no fear or barely any fear at all of the animal that they were in front of. And it's so interesting because the removal of the amygdala took away that sense of fear in the rat, which I find fascinating. Therefore, the rats did not fear anything. They didn't have a reason to be afraid, which honestly, you can just take away your belief of having an amygdala for one day and conquer your life. There, that's my motivational quote for the day. Believe you don't have an amygdala and conquer life. But lastly, on today's Psychologically Gaming, we are going to go into our Korean word of the day. And our Korean word of the day is byungwon. Byungwon is the word for hospital. Hospital is something that I feel like everybody should know. I don't care if you're not going to Korea or if you're going there or wherever you're going. You should literally know the word for hospital in every language. But yeah, leave down in the comments below actually what Korean words of the day you would like to see for each episode, and I will try to fit them in. And I want to be able to see if like there's a consensus among like general words that you want to see, because I know I put up like it's such random words a lot of the time, like flower, tree, like, but I want to be able to post more words that people might actually be able to use, like Byungwon, hospital. That's today's episode. If you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit the bell down below, because I make videos every weekday. Stay casually nerdy, you guys, and I will talk to you all in tomorrow's video. Peace.